would change when she's mine. It's not she don't want love, she just can't accept love, cause I'm having with love. That's keeping her from love, maybe an ex-lover, or could be a father. I don't know, all I can tell how she relates to me. But I would give all of my heart if she would just believe. She don't know love, oh, I love you. And she don't know love is right here, oh. She don't know love, oh, I love you. Love is far away from the pain that I see in her eyes. But all of that will change when she's mine. It's more than sexual, I'm a reflection of the feeling that's in your soul. It's more than magical, girl, let me take you on a journey that you should know. Don't let the pain from your past keep you from what you're looking for. I promise to give all my heart, I'm the one that you adore. She don't know. Can you tell when a real man is the one to love you and protect your heart? Don't let your pain destroy love's far away from the pain that I see in her eyes. But all of that would change when she's mine. I can't let you go.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Well, it depends on where you are, but here, in the EST time, it's Saturday. It's about 7:17 in the morning. Good morning. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I thank the universe if you are able to tune in live and or catch this on a replay. I thank the universe that you had the breath in your lungs this morning to just be, to wake up, and to do the will of the Lord, of God, whatever you call the higher being. I'm happy. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy I'm here another day just to be a better version of ourselves. Hey, y'all. Hey. Gordo. Hey, boo. How you doing? Life is life. I hope you're doing good. I hope everything's going well for you and your family. Hey, y'all. I don't get to see y'all often, but I'm here today. I can't promise I'm going to be here tomorrow. I got things to do on the weekend, but today I said I was coming. I felt it in my spirit to get up here. So we got 2 more chapters to finish in The Power of Now. Can y'all see that? There we go. Is that better? The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. And Eckhart is helping us be present, helping us not think of things as they were, not think of things as they will be, but to really just focus on now, in this moment. That is all you have. Facts. Of course, I have my little homemade medicine ball. And I'm about to get into it. All right. I've been trying to stay focused because I want to finish this chapter today since I don't know that I'll be here tomorrow. All right. So this chapter is called Beyond Happiness and Unhappiness, There is Peace. The higher good beyond good and bad. Is there a difference between happiness and inner peace? Yes. Happiness depends on conditions being perceived as positive. Inner peace does not. Is it not possible to attract only positive conditions into your life? If your attitude and our thinking are always positive, we would manifest only positive events and situations, wouldn't we? I haven't read the book yet, but I'm going to say no. Well, Organized, why you say no? Because life is made up of more than positivity. There is not just a positive world that exists. If you believe in the greatest history book that was ever written, the Bible, you know that ended when the Garden of Eden got closed off, right? Like, it's goals to get back there, but it don't exist. It just don't exist. So you can't have positivity if there is no negativity. How would you know it was positive if you never experienced negative? Just saying. How do you grow if you don't have things to shape you and mold you and uncomfortability to make you whatever that better version is? How do you get that diamond from that coal if it doesn't go through fire and flame? How do you get a sword if you don't sharpen it? So you got to have negativity to get to positivity. Let's see what Eckhart says, though. Do you truly know what is positive and what is negative? Do you have the total picture? There have been many people for whom limitation, failure, loss, illness, or pain in whatever form turned out to be their greatest teacher. It taught them to let go of false self-images and superficial ego-dictated goals and desires. It gave them depth, humility, and compassion. It made them more real. Whenever anything negative happens to you, there is a deep lesson concealed within it. Although you may not see it at the moment, even a brief illness or an accident can show you what is real and unreal in your life. What ultimately matters and what doesn't. That made me think of there's 2 times in life when, like, who people really are revealed to us. Weddings and funerals. If you want to know who somebody is, have a big wedding and see what happens. If you want to know who somebody is, at the funeral, watch what happens. Or even in the planning, if it's somebody that you are close with or connected with, see what happens. That will reveal people's character. Another thing it makes me think about is When people talk about money, and I want money, like if money is your goal in life, when you think about money and money is going to make my life better, money doesn't make you better. It doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you actually are, right? Like if you are a good person, money makes you a better person. If you have some dark demons that were buried and they couldn't be unleashed because you didn't have the financial capability to unleash those demons, and you get some money, guess what you're going to do? You're going to let them demons loose. That's what money does. It gives you the ability. It is a tool that gives you the ability to be all that you actually are. Gordo says facts. Seen from a higher perspective, conditions are always positive. To be more precise, they are neither positive or negative. They are as they are. And when you live in complete acceptance of what is, which is the only sane way to live, there is no good or bad in your life anymore. I'm not there yet, y'all. I still call things good or bad, but I do believe that it is what it is, right? Or it is what it ain't. That's my saying. It is what it ain't. And even in the badness, that happened for a reason. There was a reason. So I'm working on changing the language, but my mindset understands this completely. There is only a higher good, which includes the bad. Seen from the perspective of the mind, however, there is good, bad, like, dislike, love, hate. Hence, in the book of Genesis, it is said that Adam and Eve were no longer allowed to dwell in paradise. I told y'all I didn't even read this, but I knew it. In the book of Genesis, it is said that Adam and Eve were no longer allowed to dwell in paradise when they ate of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This sounds to me like denial and self-deception. When something dreadful happens to me or someone close to me, accident, illness, pain of some kind, or death, I can pretend that it isn't bad, but the fact remains that it is bad. So why deny it? I had a situation that happened in work. And when I talked about it, I didn't talk about it as bad. I spoke about it as it revealed something in someone, and it gives you the opportunity to change how you operate with that person. So don't look at it as bad. Look at it as revelation, knowledge, so that now you have the information to move differently, to act differently. Now that you see all of the pieces on the puzzle, you've been given clarity in situations like that. So that's what I see it like. I'm not all the way in the mindset of not in the good and the bad, but I know that I'm growing in that space because I don't perceive things as bad anymore. But I still might say, yeah, that was bad. That was good, or that was positive. So I'm working on that is what it is, or it is what it ain't. You are not pretending anything. You are allowing it to be as it is. That's all. This allowing to be takes you beyond the mind with its resistance patterns that create the positive negative polarities. It is an essential aspect of forgiveness. Forgiveness of the present is even more important than forgiveness of the past. If you forgive every moment, allow it to be as it is, then there will be no accumulation of resentment that needs to be forgiven at some later time. Think about it. We live life. I'm not going to say we. I'm going to reflect on me. I'm going to use me. I'm going to put me on the stage. I have lived life reflectively, like somebody did something to me. And in the moment, I held on to it. And those moments grow. And you keep waking up. You keep going to sleep. You keep waking up. and years. Days turn into months, into years, into sometimes decades, into sometimes longer, right? And if in that moment you didn't give yourself the grace and the space to forgive, you carry that unforgiveness with you through those days and weeks and months and years and decades. And then you look back, like I have done recently, and have to forgive my ex-husband for being who he was and all he understood to be, right? Like, if I had the ability or the awareness or the knowledge to forgive him in that moment, I probably wouldn't have had to carry that weight for, my son will be 18 soon. 18 years is a long time. 17 years is a long, like, it's a long time. It's not a long time, but that's a long time to carry unforgiveness inside of you. Going forward, y'all, forgive immediately, forgive quickly. Understand that as human beings, we can only be who we are. We can't be something that we're not. We can't have knowledge that we don't have. We can't have understanding that we don't have. Even if other people need that from us, our children might need things from us that we don't have. And as they grow up, they will frame themselves around that. And they will either forgive you or not for being a human being once they awaken to, oh, my mom, my dad is just a person, not this god or goddess on a pedestal. It is an essential aspect of forgiveness. Forgiveness of the present is even more important than forgiveness of the past. I think we're back. Wait, my monitor is not monitoring. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, I see it on my phone. I see it on my iPad. I don't see it on my monitor though. Oh, because it's not caught up yet. Give me a second, y'all. Press play. Child. Let me tell y'all what just happened. Fool la la. It's the fool la la of it all. Child. It's too early in the morning on a Saturday and my brain ain't fully caught up. Okay, I'm back. We are doing our things. Okay, let me tell y'all what just happened. And then I got to start over. Anywho, so I have this little heater down here, and I have what are those boxes like? If you got too much stuff plugged in, it'll trip the wire because it's too much electricity. So yeah, my little heater and all of my Wi-Fi, my laptop stuff is plugged into this circuit breaker. I think that's what it is. It's not a circuit breaker. That's not the name of it. Whatever it is, that box that will trip a wire when it gets into too much electricity going through it. My little heater, if I turn it on high, it causes too much electricity. And so I usually don't turn it on high. I usually have it like on medium. And so I guess I wasn't fully woke when I turned it on, and I thought I turned it on medium and your girl had turned it on high. So when it got tired of being tired, it just turned off. And I was like, well, what happened? And then I heard the noise. It started beeping. And once it's beeping, I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to reset it. It's not resetting. I had to push. It took me so long because I had to push the little button back in. So I apologize, especially if you on replay. It's going to be a little gap right there of nothingness because, yeah, I might try to edit it out later in the YouTube thing, studio space. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I'm back, though. I'm going to start this whole paragraph over. All right, so I'm going to start with the question. Just in case I'm able to edit it, I'll edit that first question out and I'll start here. This sounds to me like denial and self-deception. When something dreadful happens to me or someone close to me, accident, illness, pain of some kind, or death, I can pretend that it isn't bad, but the fact remains that it is bad. So why deny it? You are not pretending anything. You are allowing it to be as it is. That's all. This allowing to be takes you beyond the mind with its resistance patterns that create the positive negative polarities. It is an essential aspect of forgiveness. Forgiveness of the present is even more important than forgiveness of the past. And I remember I was talking about the ex and 17 years and finally the forgiveness, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so take two. If I edit it and I clap, it'll show me a spike on my thing. So I'll know to edit it right there, y'all. That's why I clapped. I know, don't think I'm crazy. I know I halfway know what I'm doing. I'm not gonna act like I fully am aware, but I halfway know what I'm doing. All right. Forgiveness of the present is even more important than forgiveness of the past. If you forgive every moment, in this now, allow it to be as it is, then there will be no accumulation of resentment that needs to be forgiven at some time later. Remember that we are not talking about happiness here. For example, when a loved one has just died or you feel your own death approaching, you cannot be happy. It is impossible, but you can be at peace. There may be sadness and tears, but provided that you have relinquished resistance, underneath the sadness, you will feel a deep serenity, a stillness, a sacred presence. This is the emanation of being. This is inner peace. The good that has no opposite. What if it is a situation that I can do something about? How can I allow it to be and change it at the same time? Do what you have to do. In the meantime, accept what is. Since mind and resistance are synonymous, acceptance immediately frees you from mind dominance and thus reconnects you with being. As a result, the usual ego motivations for doing and those motivations are fear, greed, control, defending, or feeding the false sense of self will cease to operate. An intelligence much greater than the mind is now in charge. And so a different quality of consciousness will flow into your doing. Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could be more aptly fit your needs. This was written 2,000 years ago by Marcus Aurelius, one of those exceedingly rare humans who possess worldly power as well as wisdom. How many leaders today do you feel are powerful and wise and present at the same time? I'm trying to think of one. My brain is stuck. Okay. It seems that well, no, because that's not the power. I'm like, who is I'm still thinking, y'all. I'm sorry. Who is powerful and present? I'll keep thinking. It seems that most people need to experience a great deal of suffering before they will relinquish resistance and accept, before they will forgive. Yep. As soon as they do, one of the greatest miracles happens: the awakening of being conscious through what appears as evil, the transmutation of suffering into inner peace. The ultimate effect of all the evil and suffering in the world is that it will force humans into realizing who they are beyond name and form. Thus, what we perceive as evil from our limited perspective is actually part of the higher good that has no opposite. This, however, does not become true for you except through forgiveness. Until that happens, evil has not been redeemed and therefore remains evil. Through forgiveness, which essentially means recognizing the insubstantiality of the past and allowing the present moment to be as it is, the miracle of transformation happens not only within, but also without. A silent space of intense presence arises both in you and around you. Whoever or whatever enters that field of consciousness will be affected by it, sometimes visibly and immediately, sometimes at deeper levels with visible changes disappearing. Deeper changes appearing at a later time. You dissolve discord, heal pain, dispel unconsciousness without doing anything, simply by being and holding that frequency of intense presence. I'll share with you something that I told my son. So my son is reaching what we consider adulthood in these Americas, in this world, right? His adulthood, I want him to be honest with me to a fault. If he tells nobody else the truth, I hope that I have embedded in my children, you're going to tell your mama the truth. Be honest. Be uncomfortably honest with me. And so yesterday we were on the phone talking and he asked me if he could spend the night at somebody's house. I thanked him for asking me because we've been going through this. He think he grown, but you're not really grown. And I don't want to ruin our relationship right now at this crossroad of you wanting to be grown. And I want to still have my baby. And I'm trying to give you space, but I need to sleep at night. I need to know you're safe, right? So I let him know, I always tell him I love him before we get off the phone. And I tell him, there's nothing that you can ask me or tell me that I won't love you. And so he's like, well, Ma, what if I murder somebody? I was like, that would not change my love for you. I'm going to love you no matter what. There's nothing you can do that will stop me from loving you. Now, am I going to go broke trying to act like you didn't? Nope, not going to do that. But I will love you. I will still love you. Andrea, how are you? Good morning, sunshine. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay, so if I remember, you are on, is it Pacific time? I think you're 3 hours behind. So it's foursome. Are you up early or are you up late? Because it's early here. It's 7:47 here. But good morning. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I don't come on very often anymore. I don't get to see my YouTube family much anymore. So I'm glad you're here. All right. The end of your life drama. Up early. All right, Queen. Have a blessed day today. The end of your life drama. In that state of acceptance and inner peace, even though you may not call it bad, can anything still come into your life that will be called bad from a perspective of ordinary consciousness? Most of the so-called bad things that happen in people's lives are due to unconsciousness. They are self-created, or rather, ego-created. I sometimes refer to those things as drama. I call it popcorn. I was like, I don't call it drama. There is drama in life, but like in my position now, I'm like, okay, I just be waiting for the popcorn to pop. When is the popcorn gonna pop? Because when the popcorn pop, that's when I got to be on and popping. I got to be ready to to pop with the popcorn and move when it, it's going here, I got to go there. It's popping over there, I got to go over there. So I call it popcorn. When you are fully conscious, drama does not come into your life anymore. Let me remind you briefly how the ego operates and how it creates drama. Ego is the unobserved mind that runs your life when you are not present as the witnessing consciousness, the watcher. The ego perceives itself as a separate fragment in a hostile universe with no real inner connection to any other being, surrounded by other egos, which it either sees as a potential threat or which it will attempt to use for its own ends. The basic ego patterns are designed to combat its own deep-seated fear and sense of lack. They are resistance, control, power, greed, defense, and attack. Some of the ego's strategies are extremely clever, yet they never truly solve any of its problems simply because the ego itself is the problem. When ego comes together, whether in personal relationships or in organizations or institutions, like your job, like when you go shopping and you always have a bad experience. There's always something happening. It's not this. It's this. It's you. When egos come together, whether in personal relationships or in organizations or institutions, bad things happen sooner or later. Drama of one kind or another in the form of conflict, problems, power struggles, emotional or physical violence, and so on. This includes collective evils such as war, genocide, and exploitation, all due to masked unconsciousness. Furthermore, many types of illness are caused by the ego's continuous resistance, which creates restrictions and blockages in the flow of energy through the body. When you reconnect with being and are no longer run by your mind, you cease to create those things. You do not create or participate in drama anymore. So the popcorn that I spoke of, it's not that I participate in it. It's that it comes, I don't lose myself in it. And when I say I don't lose myself in it, is that I don't take it personally. And that is something that I work on every day, because our ego, we all have ego. Our ego makes everything about us. Our ego is like, why is this happening to me? Instead of just stopping at the happening and trying to be in that moment to resolve whatever is happening. It's not about you. It's not personal. Life is going to life. Life doesn't point you out and take you personally. Life just does what life does. And it just flows through since the beginning of times until times no longer exist. And if you can't see that, you got a lot of work to do on yourself. Because before you, life existed. I'm positive that you've lived through loss. You've grieved death. And that shows you that after you, life will continue to roll on. And so since you can't really do anything about those factors, right? You have to be. You have no control. And it's not personal, because the universe going to keep doing what it does. It will keep showing you lessons until you learn it or you no longer exist. It's your choice. Whenever two or more egos come together, drama of one kind or another ensues. But even if you live totally alone, you still create your own drama. When you feel sorry for yourself, drama. When you feel guilty or anxious, drama. When you let the past or the future obscure the present now, you are creating time, psychological time, the stuff out of which drama is made. Whenever you are not honoring the present moment by allowing it to just be the present moment, you are creating popcorn. You are creating drama. You are trying to control a universe that you have no control over. You are trying to control human beings that you have no control over. One of the things that I find really interesting in some of the YouTube spaces and places that I visit periodically is like the beefing, the drama, and the responses layered on top of responses. When you operate in spaces where you feel like you have to always defend yourself, you are not allowing yourself to live in the present. You have a victim mentality. You have to get to a space and a place in your life. And I need us as other humans watching some of this happen to stop being age dependent and stop telling people they too old to be doing what they doing. They're not. Age has nothing to do with ego. Nothing. There are very young people who are very aware, who are very mindful. There are very old people who don't even understand that they are the cause of their own pain because they're not aware. They're not mindful. They don't live in the now. They live in the past. They enjoy pain bodies. So stop correlating age with maturity, age with presence, age with awareness. That is not true. It is not real. It's not valid. Right? But we create our own drama. I get to choose how I respond to the mess in my children's bathroom. I can make it very uncomfortable in my house, or I can choose a different path. I know that if I keep screaming and yelling about it, I've been doing that for a long time. Nothing has changed. When you keep doing the same thing, guess what's going to happen? You will keep getting the same result. These beef sectors, these responses on top of responses to the same thing that we was talking about for 5 years now or so. Nothing's changed, y'all. Like y'all like this. Y'all enjoy that space. Y'all enjoy that drama. And as watchers of the drama, we feed into that. You can look in comment sections. You can look at the number of views, the clicks, the subscribers. A lot of us like to live unconsciously, either on purpose or through other human beings. And when you live unconsciously through other humans and enjoy their pain bodies, please believe that energy is being absorbed by you. Most people are in love with their particular life drama. Girl, you was up here telling the people what Eckhart is telling the people. Most people are in love with their particular life drama. Their story is their identity. The ego runs their life. They have their whole sense of self invested in it. Even their usually unsuccessful search for an answer, search for truth, the solution, or for healing, that becomes part of their drama. Well, I just want to say what I got to say because I need y'all to understand where I'm coming from. Child, please, that's not going to change nothing. That's not going to change nobody's perception. Everybody's just tuning in to be entertained. We are people who like to be entertained with fool-la-la. And it's sad. We are so unconscious. And I'm just talking to Black people. But society in general, we are very unconscious. I watched the Breakfast Club interview with D.L. Hughley. And one of the things that kind of resonated with me about that interview, and I did share it on my community, is he spoke about Donald Trump. He related Donald Trump to being everything that white America perceives Black Americans to be. But they voted for him. Half of our country voted for him. And so our country points so many fingers at us about what we do and don't do and who we are and how we should be and how we are. But voted for an individual who don't pay taxes. Like, don't y'all? Oh, okay. Who schemes and frauds, defraud, like y'all be seeing stuff like that about us in our community. Who will verbally kill, steal, and destroy. But there's no self-reflection when all you want is power. If all you want is money and power, you don't have to self-reflect because that's a by any means necessary mentality. Be careful about that type of mentality. Any means necessary? Any means necessary? There's no consciousness in by any means necessary mentality. What they fear and resist most is the end of their drama. As long as they are their mind, what they fear and resist most is their own awakening. And that is something that I had to come to accept. Everybody doesn't want to be aware of who they are. And it is okay to navigate yourself away from people in those spaces, even your family members. You can love people from a distance. And it's okay. Stop thinking that you got to be up in everybody's face or you got to call everybody that's your family or text them. You do not. Some people like being the victim. Some people like blaming you for their pain bodies. I refuse. As a more, I'm not going to be safe fully because I am not an all or nothing kind of woman. As a more conscious and aware being, I refuse to let anybody blame me for their unhappiness. If my presence causes you such pain, let me remove myself from you. Let me move differently around you. Let me love you from a distance. When you live in complete acceptance of what is, that is the end of all drama in your life. Nobody can even have an argument with you, no matter how hard he or she tries. Do you know how uncomfortable it is when somebody wants to argue and you're just present and you won't argue back? They will not be comfortable in your presence. They will remove themselves from you. You won't even have to do anything. Your awareness, your consciousness will create very uncomfortable situations for people who are not conscious. Work on it, try it, and watch how people move differently around you, how they talk differently to you. Somebody told me this yesterday and I really appreciated it and it almost made me want to shed a tear. They told me that they loved how I was a solution-oriented leader. I don't see things as problems. I see life as a puzzle, and we just have to put the pieces together. And sometimes you put pieces in places where they shouldn't belong, or shouldn't. Girl, get it together. Sometimes we put pieces in place where they don't belong, and we have to take those pieces out and put them somewhere else, or just wait until we can see the bigger picture. That is how I view life. It is a puzzle. And during my existence, my job while I am here on this earth is to put pieces of the puzzle in place so that others can benefit from the puzzle, from the bigger picture, so that my children can benefit from the bigger picture. I might not complete the puzzle. I don't think that there is a completion in your lifetime to this puzzle. But our purpose is to see the pieces, to acknowledge the pieces, and to give them space in the bigger picture. You cannot have an argument with a fully conscious person. An argument implies identification with your mind and a mental position, as well as resistance and reaction to the other person's position. The result is that the polar opposites become mutually energized. These are the mechanics of unconsciousness. You can still make your point clearly and firmly, but there will be no reactive force behind it, no defense or attack. So it won't turn into drama. When you are fully conscious, you cease to be in conflict. No one who is at one with himself can even conceive of conflict. States A Course in Miracles. This refers not only to conflict with other people, but more fundamentally, listen, more fundamentally, you will alleviate the conflicts within yourself, which ceases when there is no longer any clash between the demands and expectations of your mind and what is. Impermanence and the cycles of life. However, as long as you are in the physical dimension and linked to the collective human psyche, physical pain, although rare, is still possible. This is not to be confused with suffering, with mental, emotional pain. All suffering is ego created and is due to resistance. Also, as long as you are in this dimension, you are still subject to a cyclical nature and to the law of impermanence of all things. But you no longer perceive this as bad. It just is. Through allowing the isness of all things, a deeper dimension underneath the play of opposites reveals itself to you as an abiding presence, an unchanging deep stillness, an uncaused joy beyond good and bad. This is the joy of being, the peace of God. On the level of form, there is birth and death, creation and destruction, growth and dissolution of seemingly separate forms. This is reflected everywhere in the life cycle of a star or a planet, a physical body, a tree, a flower, in the rise and fall of nations, political systems, civilizations, and in the inevitable cycles of gain and loss in the life of an individual. There are cycles of success when things come to you and thrive, and cycles of failure when they wither or disintegrate, and you have to let them go in order to make room for new things to arise or for transformation to happen. If you cling and resist at that point, it means you are refusing to go with the flow of life, and you will suffer. One of the examples that I've lived consciously through was when I was seeking an administrative position. And there were years of interviews, years of my interview sword being sharpened, years of making it to the next round and still being told no, years of no, years of feeling like maybe it's not for me. My unconscious self knew it was in me, right? My consciousness had to figure out how to present it in a way that was acceptable, in a way that was affirming. And that is where the work is done. And I share this because I want to share to not be discouraged, right? There are some things that we as human beings want in this realm of living and in this reality. And there are things that we will be denied. There will be things that in the moment sound like and are literal no's. But when you change your frame of mind and when you become present, you don't hear no anymore. You learn to hear not now. You learn to hear you still got some work to do. You learn to see opportunities in what was missing. What do I need to learn so that, because I'm not going to tell myself no, I'm not going to be stuck in this space, in this place. I know what exists in me. I know I am that I am. I know what God has downloaded in my spirit. I know what I've studied. I know what I've learned in this field. What is it, though? What is this missing piece of the puzzle that I need to figure out to access this next level that I'm trying to get to? And you don't get to put a timeline on that. When you have mastered it, the universe will affirm it. You will know. It is not true that the up cycle is good and the down cycle is bad, except in the mind's judgment. That is why we have to stop judgment of others and ourselves. Nothing is personal. Growth is usually considered positive, but nothing can grow forever. If growth of whatever kind were to go and on, it would eventually become monstrous and destructive. Disillusion is needed for new growth to happen. One cannot exist without the other. The down cycle is absolutely essential for spiritual realization. You must have failed deeply on some level or experienced some deep loss or pain to be drawn to the spiritual dimension. Or perhaps your very success became empty and meaningless and so turned out to be failure. Do you know how many unhappy, highly successful people exist? Some people know exactly what they're going to do when they are really young, and that is all they focus on. And when they achieve that thing, they become very unhappy. Because once you get to goals, what's your purpose? If that was your purpose, what is your purpose beyond attaining that level of success, beyond getting with that man or woman, beyond what is your purpose? Failure lies concealed in every success, and success in every failure. In this world, which is to say, on the level of form, everybody fails sooner or later. Of course, and every achievement eventually comes to naught. All forms are impermanent. If you only talk about the A's on your report card, as Sinful would say, and you don't talk about the F's, your failures, your flaws, if you are a perfect person, you are not happy. If you are always pointing fingers at other people's slights, things that they do wrong, and you would never acknowledge your own mess, your own drama, your own popcorn, self-initiated, you are not happy. You are a miserable being. I guarantee it. Like, I'm not even going to question it. You can't be happy. If you never self-reflect on who you are and what you do on a daily basis, you aren't happy. You can still be active and enjoy manifesting and creating new forms and circumstances, but you won't be identified with them. You do not need them to give you a sense of self. They are not your life, only your life situation. Your physical energy is also subject to cycles. It cannot always be at a peak. There will be times of low as well as high energy. There will be periods when you are highly active and creative. But there may also be times when everything seems stagnant, when it seems that you're not getting anywhere, not achieving anything. A cycle can last for anything from a few hours to a few years. There are large cycles and small cycles within these large ones. Many illnesses are created through fighting against the cycles of low energy, which are vital for regeneration. This reminds me of this philosophy, this abuse that we have created for ourselves as a society, that we don't sleep. So you mean to tell me the only way to be successful is to abuse your body by not sleeping and resting and re-energizing? Those are things that we've told ourselves. Those are things that people think. We got this other thing, this whole entrepreneur. Like, everybody's supposed to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's supposed to be self-made. So if everybody is an entrepreneur, who are the employees? We don't need employees anymore. We don't need the doctors to work at hospitals. We need the doctors to open up new hospitals. We need the lawyers to all open up new law firms. We need the teachers to all open up new schools. Like, stop that mind. Stop that foolish talk. Stop that. Entrepreneurship can be good for some people. There are successful entrepreneurs just as well as entrepreneurs that are not successful. I've owned businesses. They've not always been successful. They've taught me lots of lessons, though. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Stop thinking that. Like, everybody on social media wants you to buy into their course because this is going to make you a better human being. It's going to teach you how to talk to women. It's going to teach you how not to, stop it. Not everybody is an expert on stuff they ain't got no knowledge about, because, child, please. The compulsion to do and the tendency to derive your sense of self-worth and identity from external factors such as achievement is an inevitable illusion as long as you are identified with the mind. This makes it hard or impossible for you to accept the low cycles and just to allow them to be. Thus, the intelligence of the organism may take over as a self-protective measure and create an illness. Child, Windows security, don't nobody need you right now. This makes it hard or impossible for you to accept the low cycles and allow them to be. Thus, the intelligence of the organism may take over as a self-protective measure and create an illness in order to force you to stop so that the necessary regeneration can take place. The cyclical nature of the universe is closely linked with the impermanent. I think I'm saying this word right or wrong, child. Let me see. Okay, wait. Impermanent. I've been saying it wrong. I had to sound it out, y'all. Impermanence. It's not permanent. Okay. The cyclical nature of the universe is closely linked with the impermanence of all things and situations. The Buddha made this a central part of his teaching. All conditions are highly unstable and in constant flux, or, as he put it, impermanence is a characteristic of every condition, every situation you will ever encounter in your life. It will change, disappear, or no longer satisfy you. Impermanence is also central to Jesus' teaching. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal. As long as a condition is judged as good by your mind, whether it be a relationship, a possession, a social role, a place, or your physical body, the mind attaches itself to it and identifies it. It makes you happy, makes you feel good about yourself, and it may become part of who you are or who you think you are. But nothing lasts in this dimension where moth and rust consume. Right here, right now, it's not forever. Either it ends or it changes, or it may undergo a polarity shift. I think about a space where some people really hold on to traditions. This is a tradition. Black people hold on to soul food as a tradition, especially around the holidays. The reason we had soul food was because we had to make things out of nothing. We don't live in that space anymore. We have the ability to transform that tradition and make it healthy, make it sustainable, and make it long term. Some of the traditions that society will hold on to do harm to other human beings. Traditions should evolve. Traditions should change based on place, time, space, eras. Traditions can keep you stuck in the past. Traditions can create spaces that are not inclusive. Be mindful of what you consider a tradition for you, for your family, for your future generations. Just be mindful of your traditions. Either it ends or it changes, or it may undergo a polarity shift. The same condition that was good yesterday or last year has suddenly turned out to be bad. It's a different time. The same conditions that made you happy then makes you unhappy now. The prosperity of today becomes the empty consumerism of tomorrow. The happy wedding and the honeymoon become the unhappy divorce or the unhappy coexistence. Or a condition disappears, so its absence makes you unhappy. When a condition or situation that the mind has attached itself to and identified with changes or disappears, the mind cannot accept it. It will cling to the disappearing condition and resist the change. It is almost as if a limb were being torn off your body. We sometimes hear of people who have lost all their money or whose reputations have been ruined committing suicide. Those are extreme cases. Others, whenever a major loss of one kind or another occurs, just become deeply unhappy or make themselves ill. They cannot distinguish between their life and their life situation. I recently read about a famous actress who died in her 80s. As her beauty started to fade and became ravaged by old age, she grew desperately unhappy and became a recluse. She too had identified with a condition, her external appearance. First, the condition gave her a happy sense of self, then an unhappy one. If she had been able to connect with the formless and timeless life within, she could have watched and allowed the fading of her external form from a place of serenity and peace. Moreover, her external form would have become increasingly transparent to the light shining through from her ageless true nature. So her beauty would not really have faded, but simply become transformed into spiritual beauty. Have you ever seen the glow in an elderly person? Their confidence, their knowledge just shine through. There are some very unhappy elderly people, but there are some elderly people you look at and be like, I want to be like you. I want to shine like you. I want to have peace glow through me like you. That is my goal. If you are in your 20s or 30s, I am in my 50s now. I hope I reflect that type of energy. That is my goal. I have no desire to be a teenager, a 20 or 30 or 40-year-old. I've been through that fire. I've learned lessons because of it. It is my intent to be the best me in this moment and to age in knowledge, wisdom, and peace, and to reflect light to anybody that I encounter. However, nobody told her that it was possible to do those things that I just shared with you. The most essential kind of knowledge is not yet widely accessible. Why? Because it's not what mainstream media pushes. It is not what the YouTube algorithm pushes. We get fed drama. We get fed violence. We get fed youth as beauty. We get fed big booties as the theme, and boobs, slim waists. That is what we are fed as a society, the attainment of those things. We get fed fancy cars, flashy this and that. That is what we are fed. It is your job to do the work, to move above that, to move through that and beyond that. Not to say, because baby, I'm going shopping today. Bars. Not to say that your want of things will go away. Stop it. Stop it. I am a human being too, but that is not who I am. Things don't make me who I am. Who I am is presentness. Who I am is peace. Who I am is love. I am that I am. I stand in that, and I know that. And I reflect that to you because you are who you are. You are peace. You are love. You are light. You are a wonder. Your godness exists. Your higher being is waiting on you. The Buddha taught that even your happiness is dukkha, a Pali word meaning suffering or unsatisfactoriness. It is inseparable from its opposite. This means that your happiness and unhappiness are one. Only the illusion of time separates them. This is not being negative. It is simply recognizing the nature of things so that you don't pursue an illusion for the rest of your life. Nor is it saying that you should no longer appreciate pleasant or beautiful things or conditions. That's what I just said. Like, child, I'm going shopping. I got some things to get. I like new cars. I like nice purses. I like what I like, right? But those things, if you take it all away, I have the ability to humble myself, and I know it. I enjoy my hair, but I've cut it all off. I needed to show myself that I had the ability to not identify with hair. I struggle with weight. I go up and down on the scale still. But this body, its shape, its form does not define who I am. At my thickest, I'm still me. At my thinnest, I'm still me. And that goes for you too. Don't let things become you. Don't let things be the identifier for who you are as a human being. But to seek something through them that they cannot give, an identity, a sense of permanency and fulfillment, is a recipe for frustration and suffering. The whole advertising industry, this is what I just talked about, mainstream media, YouTube algorithms, whatever is on TikTok, I don't even be there. Whatever is on Facebook. Child, Facebook is just a bunch of commercials now. It's just a bunch of ads. Oh, it gets on my nerves. Whatever's on Twitter. I don't even be over there on Twitter because Elon Musk just opened the gate and let the whole universe back in. So I don't really be there. Whatever's on IG. I barely go on IG anymore. All of these things are ego-driven, media-driven, society-driven, money-driven. The whole advertising industry and consumer society would collapse if people became enlightened. And that's why they don't push enlightenment, y'all. And no longer sought to find their identity through things. The more you seek happiness in this way, the more it will elude you. Nothing out there will ever satisfy you except temporarily and superficially. Your new car gonna get old. Your shoes gonna get dirty. Your clothes will wear thin. You will have to keep feeding that energy to sustain happiness. I can only be happy when my stuff is new and on and popping. When I got the best of this and that makes me happy. No, God. No. Nothing out there will ever satisfy you except temporarily and superficially. But you may need to experience some disillusionments before you realize that truth. Things and conditions can give you pleasure. I like things. But they will also give you pain. Because, baby, you got to pay for them. You got to sacrifice for that stuff. And then if it gets ruined, do you replace it? Child, let me tell you one of my experiences. I don't know if y'all can see this little earring down here. I had a vision when I was really young. So I have 2 earrings over here. But over here, I have an ear full of earrings, right? And so when I was young, I always envisioned having diamonds all down my ears. So for a long time, I wore the crystals and stones and all of that. So recently, I halfway kind of sort of upgraded because, child, what I'm not about to invest in is a bunch of diamonds. I ain't got time for that. It's not even on my wish list no more. But I would like gold, just so that the wear and tear is not as bad on my earlobes. So I got gold bars, and then I had a diamond down here. This ain't it. We back to the crystalness of it all. But I had bought diamonds, y'all. I was so excited. They were little quarter diamonds. One day I was at work and I felt in this ear and my earring was gone. No, I worked really hard for that. These diamonds, like that was my thing. I had to breathe. I was mad because the money is gone. The money is spent. The warranty has gone out. You've had them for a year now. And I have screwbacks. So I was like, how does a screwback, y'all, the whole diamond had disengaged from the post of the earring. That showed me in that moment, these little earrings are not who you are. It's not that serious. No, you're not going to replace them because we're not going to throw good money after bad. You got a bunch of crystals still that you've been holding on to that you took out. Just put some down there and keep it moving because it's not that serious. But if you identify with those things, if those things make you who you are, well, I don't wear fake this. I only wear real that. I mean, God bless you. But that's not a person. Those are things. Be careful with that type of mentality. What you will and won't do. Okay? I like discounts. I like coupons too. I just need to start using them. I just don't have the patience. Yeah, like be mindful of everything. This means that your happiness and I forgot where I was at, talking too much. Oh, I'm right here. This is not being negative. Excuse me. It is simply recognizing the nature of things so that you don't pursue an illusion for the rest of your life. Nor is it saying that you should no longer appreciate pleasant or beautiful things or conditions, but to seek something through them that they can give: an identity, a sense of permanency and fulfillment, is a recipe for frustration and suffering. The whole advertising, oh, child, I'm rereading stuff. I'm on this page. The more you see, okay, wait, I'm just going to keep going. The whole advertising industry and consumer society would collapse if people became enlightened and no longer sought to find their identity through things. The more you seek happiness in this way, the more it will elude you. Nothing out there will ever satisfy you except temporarily and superficially. But you may need to experience many disillusionments before you realize the truth. Things and conditions can give you pleasure, but they will also give you pain. That's where I stopped and started talking. Now I'm back on track. Things and conditions can give you pleasure, but they cannot give you joy. Nothing can give you joy. Joy is uncaused and arises from within as the joy of being. It is an essential part of the inner state of peace, the state that has been called the peace of God. It is your natural state, not something that you need to work hard for or to struggle to attain. Many people never realize that there can be no salvation in anything they do, possess, or attain. Those who do realize it often become world weary and depressed. If nothing can give you true fulfillment, what is there left to strive for? What is the point of anything? The Old Testament prophet must have arrived at such a realization when he wrote, I have seen everything that is done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and a striving after wind. When you reach this point, you are one step away from despair and one step away from enlightenment. A Buddhist monk once told me, all I have learned in the 20 years that I have been a monk, I can sum up in one sentence. All that arises passes away. This I know. What he meant, of course, was this. I have learned to offer no resistance to what is. I have learned to allow the present moment to be and to accept the impermanent nature of all things and conditions. Thus, I have found peace. To offer no resistance to life is to be in a state of grace, ease, and lightness. This state is then no longer dependent upon things being in a certain way, good or bad. It seems almost paradoxical, yet when your inner dependency on form is gone, the general conditions of your life, the outer forms tend to improve greatly. Things, people, or conditions that you thought you needed for your happiness now come to you with no struggle or effort on your part. And you are free to enjoy and appreciate them while they last. All those things, of course, will still pass away. Cycles will come and go. But with dependency gone, there is no fear of loss anymore. Life flows with ease. The happiness that is derived from some secondary source is never very deep. It is only a pale reflection of the joy of being, the vibrant peace that you find within as you enter the state of non-resistance. Being takes you beyond the polar opposites of the mind, and it frees you from dependency on form. Even if everything were to collapse and crumble all around you, you would still feel a deep inner core of peace. You may not be happy. You may not be happy, but you will be at peace. And I would argue, this is just me and my humanness, peace is happiness. All right, I think I'm going. So if I start reading this, I got to finish it. Y'all hear that loud car outside my window? That car is loud, child. Go get your muffler fixed. I might try to finish it. I'm not in a rush today, so let's see what happens. Using and relinquishing negativity. All inner resistance is experienced as negativity in one form or another. All negativity is resistance. In this context, the two words are almost synonymous. Negativity ranges from irritation or impatience to fierce anger, from a depressed mood or sullen resentment to suicidal despair. Sometimes the resistance triggers the emotional pain body, in which case even a minor situation may produce intense negativity, such as anger, depression, or deep grief. The ego believes that through negativity, it can manipulate reality and get what it wants. It believes that through it can attract a desirable condition. Let's hold on for a second. My Wi-Fi, my internet is doing a thing. I think I look okay on my monitors though. Okay, we're good. It believes that through it can attract a desirable condition or dissolve an undesirable one. A Course in Miracles rightly points out that whenever you are unhappy, there is the unconscious belief that unhappiness buys you what you want. If you, the mind, did not believe that unhappiness works, why would you be there? Why would you create it? Why would it exist? The fact is, of course, that negativity does not work. Instead of attracting a desirable condition, it stops it from arising. Negativity attracts negativity. Instead of dissolving an undesirable one, it keeps it in place. Its only useful function is that it strengthens the ego, and that is why the ego loves it. Once you have identified with some form of negativity, you do not want to let go. And on a deeply unconscious level, you do not want positive change. It will threaten your identity as a depressed, angry, or hard done by person. You will then ignore, deny, or sabotage the positive in your life. This is a common phenomenon. It is also insanity. Negativity is totally unnatural. It is a psychic pollutant, and there is a deep link between the poisoning and destruction of nature and the vast negativity that has accumulated in the collective human psyche. No other life form on the planet knows negativity. Only human beings. Just as no other life form violates and poisons the earth that sustains it. Have you ever seen an unhappy flower or a stressed oak tree? Have you come across a depressed dolphin? A frog that has a problem with self-esteem? A cat that cannot relax? Or a bird that carries hatred and resentment? The only animals that may occasionally experience something akin to negativity or show signs of neurotic behavior are those that live in close contact with human beings. And so they link into the human mind and to its insanity. Watch any plant or animal and let it teach you acceptance of what is. Surrender to the now. Let it teach you being. Have y'all ever watched National Geographic? Like the animals in their natural environment, just animaling, doing their thing. They just go about the day. Some of them get trampled on, they run, they eat, they graze, they go, they sleep, they get their babies. They just are. They just get to be. Let it teach you integrity, which means to be one, to be yourself, to be real. Let it teach you how to live as well as how to die and how not to make living and dying a problem because it is what it is. We were all born to die. Literally. That is your purpose. You're going to die. The sooner you can get rid of your ego, the more you get to just, be in this space, y'all, and just life is a vibe. I love waking up every morning. I thank God. I thank Jesus. I thank the Holy Spirit. I thank the universe. I thank my ancestors every morning, every night, because of the vibe of living. It is a joy to my spirit to do the will of the Lord. It is a joy to my inner being to no longer punish myself for my past. It is a joy every single day to find opportunities to grow my mind, myself, my body. It is my honor to do what I was sent here to do. And I don't necessarily know what it is, but I do know that when I wake up, it's on and popping. There's something that I need to do. Lord, what is it you need me to do today? Give me the wisdom. Give me the strength. Give me the ability to get it done. Give me the knowledge. Let me set me to the side and do your will, your way. It is an honor. I have this thing that I do at work. I go into classrooms and I teach babies dances. I can't do it a lot because my schedule kind of is just a mess. But when I get those opportunities, it's so much joy. I had a parent pull me to the side. It's making me tear up. I'm sorry, y'all. I had a parent pull me to the side yesterday. And they were like, thank you. I said, for what? What I do? What I do? That dance has become a routine in my house. It allows me the opportunity to connect with my daughter in such a different way. Yeah. Everything that happens, there is a reason. There is a purpose. Everything that you have been through, you have equipment inside of you that you are supposed to use and give in spaces that didn't even know that they needed it. I'm sorry, y'all. Child, I'm a mess sometimes. It made my heart happy. It made my energy happy. Like, I know it makes me happy, but when somebody can share with you the impact of just something so small, y'all, it's like literally 15 minutes here and there that I get to do this type of work. And when somebody can share with you a connection of just something that I don't think of it as a big deal, but an impact of something that you just kind of do, like I didn't, that wasn't the point of it, but that was powerful to me. And I thank you for sharing that. I appreciated it. Let it teach you how to live and how to die, and how not to make living and dying into a problem. I have lived with several Zen masters, all of them cats. Even ducks have taught me important spiritual lessons. Just watching them is a meditation. How peacefully they float along, at ease with themselves, totally present in the now, dignified and perfect, as only a mindless creature can be. Occasionally, however, two ducks will get into a fight, sometimes for no apparent reason or because one duck has strayed into another's private space. The fight usually lasts only for a few seconds, and then the ducks separate, swim off in opposite directions, and vigorously flap their wings a few times. Then they continue to swim on peacefully, as if the fight had never happened. When I observed that for the first time, I suddenly realized that by flapping their wings, they were releasing surplus energy, thus preventing it from becoming trapped in their body and turning into negativity. This is natural wisdom, and it is easy for them because they do not have a mind that keeps the past alive unnecessarily and then builds an identity around it. If you live in the past, if you still blame your parents for your nowness, if you still blame the things that happened long ago or yesterday on who you are in this waking moment today, you got work to do. Couldn't a negative emotion also contain an important message? For example, if I often feel depressed, it may be a signal that there is something wrong with my life. And it may force me to look at my life situation and make some changes. So I need to listen to what the emotion is telling me and not just dismiss it as negative. Yeah. Recurring negative emotions do sometimes contain a message, and so does illness. But any changes that you make, whether they have to do with your work, your relationships, or your surroundings, are ultimately only cosmetic unless they arise out of a change in your level of consciousness. And as far as that is concerned, it can only mean one thing: being present. When you have reached a certain degree of presence, you don't need negativity anymore. You don't need illness. You don't need pain. You don't need sickness. You don't need depression to tell you what is needed in your life. But as long as negativity is there, use it for now. Use it as a kind of signal that you're not being present enough. How do we stop negativity from arising, and how do we get rid of it once it's there? As I said, you stop it from arising by being fully present. But don't become discouraged. There are as yet few people on the planet who can sustain a state of conscious presence. Me. Although some are getting close to it, I don't even think I'm close. I'm a work in progress. I am aware. I see it. I see the negativity when it arises. I move through the negativity and I get back to presence and I reflect and I attempt to make changes so that I don't have that behavior or mindset again. Soon, I believe there will be many more. Whenever you notice that some form of negativity has arisen within you, look on it not as a failure, but as a signal that is telling you. I think this is what I do. Wake up, get out of your mind, and be present. There is a novel by Aldous Huxley called Island, written in his later years when he became very interested in spiritual teachings. It tells the story of a man shipwrecked on a remote island cut off from the rest of the world. This island contains a unique civilization. The unusual thing about it is that its inhabitants, unlike those of the rest of the world, are actually sane. The first thing the man notices are the colorful parrots perched in the trees, and they seem to be constantly croaking the words, attention, here and now, attention, here and now. We later learned that the islanders taught themselves these words in order to be reminded continuously to stay present. So whenever you feel negativity arising within you, whether caused by an external factor, a thought, or even nothing in particular that you are aware of, look on it as a voice saying, attention, here and now, wake up. Even the slightest irritation is significant and needs to be acknowledged and looked at. Otherwise, there will be a cumulative buildup of unobserved reactions. As I said before, you may be able to just drop it once you realize that you don't want to have this energy field inside you and that it serves no purpose. But then make sure that you drop it completely. If you cannot drop it, just accept that it is there and take your attention into the feeling, as I pointed out earlier. That's the moving through. Don't ignore. Get through so you can grow. As an alternative to dropping a negative reaction, you can make it disappear by imagining yourself becoming transparent to the external cause of the reaction. I recommend that you practice it with little, even trivial things first. Let's say that you are sitting quietly at home. Suddenly there is a penetrating sound from a car alarm from across the street. That big old car that was making all that noise driving down the street just now. Irritation arises. I wasn't irritated. I was aware, though. What is the purpose of the irritation? None whatsoever. Why did you create it? You didn't. The mind did. It was totally automatic, totally unconscious. Why did the mind create it? Because it holds the unconscious belief that its resistance, which you experience as negativity or unhappiness in some form, will somehow dissolve the undesirable condition. This, of course, is a delusion. The resistance that it creates, the irritation or the anger in this case, is far more disturbing than the original cause that is attempting to dissolve. All this can be transformed into spiritual practice. Feel yourself becoming transparent, as it were, without the solidity of a material body. Now allow the noise or whatever causes a negative reaction to pass right through you. It is no longer hitting a solid wall inside you. As I said, practice with little things first. Let me tell you one of the things I'm practicing. My kids and their laundry. I will wash their clothes, dry their clothes, put them in the basket. My son has a terrible habit of going downstairs and just getting what he needs out of the clean clothes that I've washed, put in the basket. All he needs to do is take the basket to his room. But he won't. He just won't. So instead of me repeating myself, instead of me getting angry, I got a new thing I do. And I have to change my things up because he gets accustomed to the things too, right? Last night, I took the clean clothes and I just dumped them all on his floor. You don't want to take the basket in your room. I shouldn't have to pick this basket up and take it upstairs into your room. But since I am kind of doing something so that I can keep the peace in my house, keep my mental stability intact, not argue and create barriers with my children. I'm still a little petty. I'm still a whole, human being. I picked the basket up, took it in his room, and dumped the clothes. I'm going to let him deal with that. I am back in my Zen space. I am back at peace. The basket has been removed. You got to start somewhere, right? You got to start with the little things. That's where I started. As I said, practice with the little things first. The car alarm, the dog barking, the children screaming, the traffic jam, your son's clothes, little things. Instead of having a wall of resistance inside you that gets constantly and painfully hit by things that should not be happening, let everything pass through you. Somebody says something to you that is rude or designed to hurt. Instead of going into unconscious reaction and negativity, such as attack, defense, or withdrawal, you let it pass right through you. Offer no resistance. It is as if there is nobody there to get hurt anymore. That is forgiveness. I forgive my son for not moving that basket. In this way, you become invulnerable. You can still tell that person that has his or her behavior is unacceptable if that is what you choose to do, but that person no longer has the power to control your inner state. It doesn't make me angry anymore. You are then in your power, not in someone else's, nor are you run by your mind. Whether it is a car alarm, a rude person, a flood, an earthquake, or the loss of your possessions, the resistance mechanism is the same. I have been practicing meditation. I have been to workshops. I have read many books on spirituality. I try to be in a state of non-resistance. But if you ask me whether I have found true and lasting inner peace, my honest answer would have to be no. Why haven't I found it? What else can I do? Child, I'm gonna tell you this. I haven't read the next page yet. Where you looking for it at? Where did you lose it? That's the only thing I can think of. Like, I haven't found it. When did you lose it? When did you have it to lose? Where are you looking? Oh, it's me. Inner peace it's in here. It's within me. There is no external to inner. Like, external is external. Peace is within. Peace be still. Peace is you. Let's see what Eckhart says. That's your girl, Key, saying. Let's see what Eckhart say though. You are still seeking outside, and you cannot get out of the seeking mode. Maybe the next workshop will have the answer. Maybe the new technique. To you, I say, don't look for peace. Don't look for any other state than the one you are in now. The word, I'm gonna tell you this. It's a secret. It's not at the workshop. It's not at the seminar. It's in you. Don't look for any other state than the one you are in now. Otherwise, you will set up inner conflict and unconscious resistance. Forgive yourself for not being at peace. The moment you completely accept your non-peace becomes transmuted into peace. Anything you accept fully will get you there, will take you into peace. This is the miracle of surrender. The workshop, it gives you knowledge, it gives you tools, but the work is not at the workshop. The work is not external. The work is inside. It is internal. It is you. You can do it all for yourself, all within yourself. All right, let me see. Should I try to finish? I think I'm going to try to finish. It's almost 2 hours, but I might be able to get done in 15 minutes. Let's see how this goes. You may have heard the phrase, turn the other cheek, which a great teacher of enlightenment used 2,000 years ago. He was attempting to convey symbolically the secret of non-resistance and non-reaction. In this statement, as in all his others, he was concerned only with your inner reality, not with the outer conduct of your life. Do you know the story of Banzan? I don't. So let's learn together. Y'all, I don't know if you can hear my stomach growling, but it is. So I'm sorry if you can hear it. My stomach is like, we haven't had our morning snack yet. You out here talking, and we ain't had a snack. Like, by now, we done had a snack or two. We done had some peanuts, some bananas, girl. Like, what are you doing, girl? I'm coming, baby. I'm coming. Before he became a great Zen master, he spent many years in the pursuit of enlightenment, but it eluded him. Then one day, as he was walking in the marketplace, he overheard a conversation between a butcher and his customer. Give me the best piece of meat you have, said the customer. And the butcher replied, every piece of meat that I have is the best. There is no piece of meat here that is not the best. Upon hearing this, Banzan became enlightened. I can see you are waiting for some explanation. When you accept what is, every piece of meat, every moment is the best. That is enlightenment. The nature of compassion. Having gone beyond the mind-made opposites, you become like a deep lake. The outer situation of your life and whatever happens there is the surface of the lake. Sometimes calm, sometimes windy and rough, according to the cycles and seasons. Deep down, however, the lake is always undisturbed. You are the whole lake, not just the surface. And you are in touch with your own depth, which remains absolutely still. You don't resist change by mentally clinging to any situation. Your inner peace does not depend on it. You abide in being unchanging, timeless, deathless, and you are no longer dependent for fulfillment or happiness on the outer world of constantly fluctuating forms. You can enjoy them, play with them, create new forms, appreciate the beauty of it all, but there will be no need to attach yourself to any of it. When you become this detached, does it not mean that you also become remote from other human beings? On the contrary, as long as you are aware of being, the reality of other humans will elude you. Because you have not found your own, your mind will like or dislike their form, which is not just their body, but includes their mind as well. True relationship becomes possible only when there is an awareness of being. Coming from being, you will perceive another person's body and mind as just a screen, as it were, behind which you can feel their true reality as you feel yours. So, when confronted with someone else's suffering or unconscious behavior, you stay present and in touch with being and are thus able to look beyond the form and feel the other person's radiant and pure being through your own. At the level of being, all suffering is recognized as an illusion. Suffering is due to identification with form. Miracles of healing sometimes occur through this realization. By awakening being consciousness in others, if they are ready. Is that what compassion is? Yes. Compassion is awareness of a deep bond between yourself and all creatures. But there are two sides to compassion, two sides to this bond. On the one hand, since you are still here as a physical body, you share the vulnerability and morality of your physical form with every other human and with every living being. Next time you say, I have nothing in common with this person, remember, you do. Remember, when you do this, these three fingers are pointing right back at you. A few years from now, 2 years or 70 years, it doesn't make much difference. Both of you will have become rotting corpses. Facts. Then piles of dust. Then nothing at all. This is a sobering and humbling realization that leaves little room for pride. Is this a negative thought? It's facts. Like, one thing that I don't think I try to understand this as humanity. I try to accept that everybody does not sit well with facts, right? Like with truth, because it can be uncomfortable. But it doesn't change it. It doesn't change the fact that every single one of us will no longer be here one day. That's not going to change just because it makes you uncomfortable, just because you don't want to talk about it, just because it doesn't change the reality of it. We will no longer cease to exist. One of the most powerful spiritual practices is to meditate deeply on the morality of physical forms, including your own. This is called Die Before You Die. Go into it deeply. Your physical form is devolving, is no more. Then a moment comes when all mind forms or thoughts also die. Yet you are still there. The divine presence that you are, radiant, fully awake. Nothing that was real ever died. Only names, forms, and illusions. This recording has the ability to exist forever. This body giving this information will not. The realization of this deathless dimension, your true nature, is the other side of compassion on a deep feeling level. You now recognize not only your own immorality, but through your own, that of every other creature as well. On the level of form, you share morality and precariousness of existence. Y'all, I almost didn't say that word. I was like, wait, girl, my brain was like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Precariousness of existence. On the level of being, you share eternal radiant life. These are the two aspects of compassion. In compassion, the seemingly opposite feelings of sadness and joy merge into one and become transmuted into a deep inner peace. This is the peace of God. It is one of the most noble feelings that humans are capable of, and it has great healing and transformative power. But true compassion, as I have described it, is as yet rare. To have deep empathy for the suffering of another being certainly requires a high degree of consciousness, but represents only one side of compassion. It is not complete. True compassion goes beyond empathy or sympathy. It does not happen until sadness merges with joy. The joy of being beyond form, the joy of eternal life, toward a different order of reality. I don't agree that the body needs to die. I am convinced that we can achieve physical immorality. We believe in death, and that's why bodies die. Child, I would love to know who is asking Eckhart this question. Like, what? What? Interesting. Let's see what he says. The body does not die because you believe in death. The body exists, or seems to, because you believe in death. Body and death are part of the same illusion, created by the egoic mode of consciousness, which has no awareness of the source of life and sees itself as separate and constantly under threat. So it creates the illusion that you are a body, a dense physical vehicle that is constantly under threat. To perceive yourself as a vulnerable body that was born and a little later dies, that's the illusion. Body and death, one illusion. You cannot have one without the other. You want to keep one side of the illusion and get rid of the other, but that is impossible. Either you keep all of it or you relinquish all of it. However, you cannot escape from the body, nor do you have to. The body is an incredible misperception of your true nature, but your true nature is concealed somewhere within that illusion, not outside it. So the body is still the only point of access to it. Your body is the only way to get to consciousness. If you saw an angel, but mistook it for a stone statue, all you would have to do is adjust your vision and look more closely at the stone statue. Not start looking somewhere else. You would then find that there never was a stone statue. If belief in death creates the body, why does an animal have a body? An animal doesn't have an ego and it doesn't believe in death, but it still dies, or it seems to. Remember that your perception of the world is a reflection of your state of consciousness. You are not separate from it, and there is no objective world out there. Every moment, Your consciousness creates the world that you inhabit. One of the greatest insights that has come out of modern physics is that of unity between the observer and the observed. The person conducting the experiment, the observing consciousness, cannot be separated from the observed phenomena, and a different way of looking causes the observed phenomena to behave differently. If you believe on a deep level in separation and the struggle for survival, then you see the belief reflected all around you, and your perceptions are governed by fear. You inhabit a world of death and of bodies fighting, killing, and devouring each other. Nothing is what it seems to be. The world that you create and see through the egoic mind may seem a very imperfect place, even a veil of tears. But whatever you perceive is only a kind of symbol, like an image in a dream. It is how your conscious interprets and interacts with the molecular energy dance of the universe. This energy is the raw material of so-called physical reality. You see it in terms of bodies and birth and death, or as a struggle for survival. An infinite number of completely different interpretations, completely different worlds is possible and in fact exists, all depending on the perceiving consciousness. Every being is a focal point of consciousness, and every such focal point creates its own world, although all those worlds are interconnected. There is a human world, an ant world, a dolphin world, and so on. There are countless beings whose consciousness frequency is so different from yours that you are probably unaware of their existence, and they're unaware of you. Highly conscious beings who are aware of their connectedness with the source and with each other would inhabit a world that to you would appear as a heavenly realm. And yet all worlds are ultimately one. Our collective human world is largely created through the level of consciousness we call mind. Even within the collective human world, there are vast differences, many different subworlds, depending on the perceivers or creators of their respective worlds. Since all worlds are interconnected, when collective human consciousness becomes transformed, nature and the animal kingdom will reflect that transformation. Hence, the statement in the Bible that in the coming age, the lion shall lie down with the lamb. This points to the possibility of a completely different order of reality. The world as it appears to us now is, as I said, largely a reflection of the egoic mind, fear being an unavoidable consequence of egoic delusion. It is a world dominated by fear, just as the images in a dream are symbols of inner states and feelings. So our collective reality is largely a symbolic expression of fear and of the heavy layers of negativity that have accumulated in the collective human psyche. We are not separate from our world. So when the majority of humans become free of egoic delusion, this interchange will affect all of creation. You will literally inhabit a new world. It is a shift in planetary consciousness. The strange Buddhist saying that every tree and every blade of grass will eventually become enlightened points to the same truth. According to St. Paul, the whole of creation is waiting for humans to become enlightened. That is how I interpret his saying that the created universe is waiting with eager expectation for God's sons to be revealed. St. Paul goes on to say that all of creation will become redeemed through this. Up to the present, The whole created universe in all its parts groans as if the pangs of childbirth. What is being born is a new consciousness and, as its inevitable reflection, a new world. This is also foretold in the New Testament book of Revelation. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. But don't confuse cause and effect. Your primary task is not to seek salvation through creating a better world, but to awaken out of identification with form. You are then no longer bound to this world, this level of reality. You can feel your roots in the unmanifested, and so you are free of attachment to the manifested world. You can still enjoy the passing pleasures of this world, but there is no fear of loss anymore, so you don't need to cling to them. Although you can enjoy sensory pleasures, the craving for sensory experiences is gone, as is the constant search for fulfillment through psychological gratification, through feeding the ego. You are in touch with something infinitely greater than any pleasure, greater than any manifested thing. In a way, you don't need the world anymore. You don't even need it to be different from the way that it is, because it is what it ain't. It is only at this point that you begin to make a real contribution toward bringing about a better world, toward creating a different order of reality. It is only at this point that you are able to feel true compassion and to help others at the level of cause. Only those who have transcended the world can bring about a better world. You may remember that we talked about the dual nature of true compassion, which is awareness of a common bond of shared mortality and immortality. At this deep level, compassion becomes healing in the widest sense. In that state, your healing influence is primarily based not on doing, but on being. Everybody you come into contact with will be touched by your presence and affected by the peace that you emanate, whether they are conscious of it or not. When you are fully present and people around you manifest unconscious behavior, you won't feel the need to react to it, so you don't give it any reality. Your peace is so vast and deep that anything that is not peace disappears into it as if it never existed. This breaks the karmic cycle of action and reaction. Animals, trees, flowers will feel your peace and respond to it. You teach them through being, through demonstrating the peace of God. You become the light of the world, an emanation of pure consciousness. And so you eliminate suffering on the level of cause. You eliminate unconsciousness from the world. Last section, y'all. We're going to finish it up. We're going to finish this. And tomorrow, we'll see if my girl, Foxy, wants to do a woman of a certain age. We'll see. This doesn't mean that you may not also teach through doing. For example, by pointing out how to disidentify from the mind, recognize unconscious patterns within oneself, and so on. But who you are is always a more vital teaching and a more powerful transformer of the world than what you say, and more essential even than what you do. Furthermore, to recognize the primacy of being and thus work on the level of cause does not exclude the possibility that your compassion may simultaneously manifest on the level of doing and of effect by alleviating suffering whenever you come across it. When a hungry person asks you for bread and you have some, you will give it. But as you give the bread, even though your interaction may only be very brief, what really matters is this moment of shared being, of which the bread is only a symbol. A deep healing takes place within it. In that moment, there is no giver, there is no receiver. You don't boast about it, you don't post about it. You are just being, you are doing, you are moving, you are exchanging energy. There is no pride in it, there is no pleasure in it. It just is. You are that you are. But there shouldn't be any hunger and starvation in the first place. How can we create a better world without tackling evils such as hunger and violence first? All evils are the effect of unconsciousness. You can alleviate the effects of unconsciousness, but you cannot eliminate them unless you eliminate their cause. True change happens within, not without. If you feel called upon to alleviate suffering in the world, that is a very noble thing to do. But remember not to focus exclusively on the outer. Otherwise, you will encounter frustration and despair. Without a profound change in human consciousness, the world's suffering is a bottomless pit. There has been suffering since the beginning of times. There is suffering in present times. And there will be suffering until this space no longer exists. It is part of our collective consciousness. It is part of our inability to be present and to live in the now. It is part of our egoic mindset. It is part of greed, want, gluttony. It is part of our sinful nature. So don't let your compassion become one-sided. Empathy with someone else's pain or lack and a desire to help need to be balanced with a deeper realization of the eternal nature of all life and the ultimate illusion of all pain. Then let your peace flow into whatever you do, and you will be working on the levels of effect and cause simultaneously. This also applies if you are supporting a movement designed to stop deeply unconscious humans from destroying themselves, each other, and the planet, or from continuing to inflict dreadful suffering on other sentient beings. Remember, just as you cannot fight the darkness, so you cannot fight unconsciousness. If you try to do so, the polar opposites will become strengthened and more deeply entrenched. You will become identified with one of the polarities. You will create an enemy, and so to be drawn into unconsciousness yourself. Raise awareness by disseminating information, or at the most, practice passive resistance. But make sure that you carry no resistance within, no hatred, no negativity. Love your enemies. Love each other, said Jesus. Of course, he's saying you don't have enemies. If you can come into consciousness, if you can be present, we don't have to have a beef sector. We don't have to keep making a million reactions to the reaction of the reaction to the reactor to the person. Because you are that you are. Once you get involved in working on the level of effect, it is all too easy to lose yourself in it. Stay alert and very, very present. The causal level needs to remain your primary focus. The teaching of enlightenment, your main purpose, and peace, your most precious gift to the world. What are you going to sacrifice to live in the present? You have to sacrifice your ego. There is no growth, there is no change without sacrifice. I thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. I love you. God willing, I'll wake up in the morning and I may or may not come back. But we did finish chapter 9, which means we have one more to go. And I'm going to save that for next weekend. So if I'm able to come tomorrow, it'll be with my boo, Foxy and family. Or I might not. I might give myself some rest tomorrow. I love you. Have a blessed day. And I'll see you, God willing, tomorrow.
Instagram. You're seeing all the A's on the report card. You didn't see the sacrifices that was made. Remember when Sin told you that the price of success is sacrifice. You cannot escape sacrifice. From spirituality to carnality, sacrifice is a necessity. You're going to have to sacrifice. You want that bitch? Sacrifice. Want that mansion? Sacrifice. You want them cars? Sacrifice. You want that jewelry? Sacrifice. You want that clout? Sacrifice. You want that body? Sacrifice. Even in God, you want that anointing? Sacrifice. You want to preach like that? Sacrifice. You want to be knowledgeable like that? Sacrifice. Whatever life you live, you cannot escape sacrifice.